Okay, I'm here in 8.1, day 11 CAMI assignment. We're solving systems by graphing. So step one, if the equation is not already in slope-intercept form, you need to show your work in order to rewrite the equation into slope-intercept form. Then you can identify M and B so that you can graph each line. And then third, you can find the point of intersection of the two lines and write the ordered pair where the lines intersect. Okay, so here we have equation one, and equation two. Neither one of them are in slope-intercept form because we don't have y equals something. And so we need to rewrite them into slope-intercept form. So equation one, put a little 1 and circle it. I'm going to copy it down. It is x plus 3y equal negative 12. My y term is on the left side, so get this x over here on the right side by subtraction. I subtract x from both sides so that those x's will cancel. X minus x is nothing. They're gone. So I have 3y equal to, put your x term first. Your x term is negative x. And then put your constant. Your constant is negative 12. Okay, to get this into slope-intercept form, I need to undo this multiplication, 3 times y. To undo that, of course, I would divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Every term gets divided by 3 so that these 3's will simplify to 1y or just y, which is what I need for the equation to be in slope-intercept form. Remember, in front of x, there is an invisible 1. So if you want to make it uninvisible, you can write it right there. And then what is this number? I have a negative 1 over 3. Well, a negative 1 over 3, that is negative 1/3, right? Negative 1/3. And then don't forget your x term. Okay, then right here I have negative 12 over 3. Negative 12 divided by 3 is negative 4. All right, so now my equation is in slope-intercept form, so I can now identify m. M is this number in front of x, which is negative 1/3, so negative 1 over 3. And then b is this term, negative 4. Okay, so when I go to graph this line, I begin at b. B is at negative 4, and so on the y-axis, right, this is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. So on the y-axis, I'll put a dot at negative 4 right there. And then I move with m. M is negative 1/3, which tells me to go down 1 and to the right 3. Now, if I do that, down 1, and right 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, there's my dot. Let me also go the other direction as well. And instead of going down to the right, I could go up and to the left, right? Change the direction of both these arrows, up and to the left, and I will still be on the same line. So from B, go up 1 and to the left 3. 1, 2, 3. And put a dot. Insert your line. Click and drag. Okay, arrows on the end of your line to show that the line continues forever in both directions. And put a little 1 and circle it to show this is line 1 that comes from equation 1. Line 1 that comes from equation 1. Now let's graph equation 2. To do that, we first need to put it in slope-intercept form. So put a little 2 and circle it. And I'm going to copy this down. 5x minus 3y equals negative 6. Okay, let's solve for y. So y is on the left side, so get the x term on the right side by subtraction. So I subtract 5x from both sides. So those 5x's cancel, and this y term is negative 3y. Bring your equal sign down. Write your x term first. Your x term is negative 5x, and your constant term is negative 6. Okay, to solve for y, I divide by the number in front of y, which is not 3, but negative 3. So every term gets divided by negative 3. Every term in the equation gets divided by negative 3. So that these negative 3's simplify to 1y or just y. And so y equals, now watch here, you have a negative 5 over a negative 3. Well, because you have a negative over a negative, that's of course a positive. And then 5 over 3, that's an improper fraction. Leave it as an improper fraction. Do not try to make it a decimal. That will not help you when you go to graph this line. So your slope is 5/3, 5 over 3. Again, don't forget your x. I need to write your x in slope-intercept form. For your constant term, you have negative 6 over negative 3. What's negative 6 divided by negative 3? Well, negative divided by negative, that is a positive, and 6 divided by 3 is 2. So this right here is slope-intercept form. So now you can identify m. M is the number in front of x. So that's 5/3. 5/3 is m. That's your slope. And then your b, your constant, is 2. So right now I can look at their slopes. I see that their slopes are different. And so I would expect these lines to intersect, right? There's going to be one solution because they have different slopes. So let's figure out where that one solution is. Let's graph that second line to see where the lines intersect. So I begin at B. B is at 2. So on the y-axis, I put a dot at 2, which would be right there. Okay, now my slope is 5/3. So slope is 5/3, 5/3, which would tell me to go up 5 and to the right 3. Now, if I do that from B, if I go up 5, I'm going to be off of the grid. And so instead of going up 5, right 3, let me change the direction of both of these arrows. And so instead of going up, I'm going to go down. And instead of going right, I will go left. So up 5, right 3 is the same thing as down 5, left 3. So let's do that to see where the next point would be. So from B, which is 2, I'm going to go down 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to the left 3. 1, 2, and 3. And as you can see, that point right there is on both of these lines. So insert line by click and drag. And then put arrows on the end of the line to show that the line continues forever in both directions. Line continues forever in both directions. Put a little 2 and circle it. That's line 2 that comes from equation 2. And so as you can tell right here, that point right there is the solution. And so we need to write its XY ordered pair so that we can say what the solution is. So from the origin, you would go left 1, 2, 3. And if you go left 3, that is -3. That's the x value in the solution. So from the origin, I went right or left 3, 1, 2, 3, and then down 1, 2, 3. So left 3 and down 3, that means the ordered pair is -3, -3. From the origin, I went left 3, 1, 2, 3, and then I went down 3, 1, 2, 3. So -3, -3 is the solution to this system. That is the one point that satisfies both equations. That is the one point that is on both of the lines. Okay, number 2 right here, we have this system. Notice how equation 1 is already in slope-intercept form. This number right there is m, and that is b, and so you can graph that one. Equation 2 right here is a special equation, right? It does not have an x in it. All it has is a y. And remember the trick I told you is that the y is an upside down h, and upside down h for the word horizontal. Okay, and so if you have y equals something, you have a horizontal line on this number. So you need a horizontal line, a side-to-side line, on the number 1. So here's the number 1 right here. You're going to have a side-to-side line just like that. Okay, so once you graph both of these equations, you can see where the lines will intersect. Okay, so you try that one on your own. We'll go to number 3 right here. We have this system that consists of equation 1 and equation 2. Neither one of them are in slope-intercept form, so let's first put equation 1 into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to copy x plus 2y equal 8, and I'm going to show all of my work to put this into slope-intercept form. So y is on the left side, so move this x to the right side by subtraction. So I subtract x from both sides, so those x's cancel, right? X minus x, those are gone. So here I have 2y equal to, put your x term first. Your x term is -x. And then put your constant. Your constant is +8. Then to solve for y, you divide every term by the number in front of y, which would be 2. So I'm dividing every term by 2. Every term gets divided by 2, so those 2's simplified to 1y. And so y equals, what number's in front of this x? There's an invisible 1 right there, right? So you can make it uninvisible. And what number would this be? Negative 1 over 2. Well, isn't that negative 1/2? That's negative 1/2. And don't forget your x. So this is negative 1/2 x. Here you have 8 over 2. 8 divided by 2 is positive 4. So this is the equation in slope-intercept form. So now you can identify m. This is m, negative 1/2, and this is b, positive 4. Right? M is negative 1/2. B is positive 4. So if we graph this, let's begin at B. I'm going to begin at B. Of course, this is the x-axis. This is the y-axis. Okay, B is at 4, positive 4. I begin right there. And then I move with M. M is negative 1 over 2, which tells me to go down 1 and to the right 2. So from B, down 1, right 2, make a dot. Down 1, right 2, and make a dot. Insert your line here, click and drag to connect the dots. And on the end of the line, of course, we put arrows to show that the line continues forever in both directions. Put a little 1 and circle it. That's line 1 that comes from equation 1. Line 1 that comes from equation 1. Okay, now I have equation 2. Equation 2, I have x minus 2y equals negative 4. My y term's on the left, so get this x on the right side by subtraction. I subtract x from both sides. So those x's cancel, and I have negative 2y equal to, put your x term first. Your x term is negative x, and your constant is negative 4. Solve for x by dividing every term by the number in front of y, which is not 2, but negative 2. So I'm dividing everything by negative 2. And when I do that, those negative 2's simplify to just 1y, or y. And remember here, there's an invisible 1, so I have negative 1 over negative 2. I know a negative over negative is a positive, and 1 over 2 is simply 1/2. And don't forget your x. So this is 1/2 x. And then here you have a negative 4 over negative 2. A negative divided by negative is a positive, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So positive 2. This right here is slope-intercept form. So now you can identify m. M is that number, 1/2. That's the slope. And this right here is the y-intercept. That is b. B is 2. So because their slopes are different, you know there's one solution, right? Different slopes, one solution. So let's graph line number 2 so that we can figure out where the lines intersect. Begin at B. B is at 2. B is at 2 right there. Okay, then the slope is 1/2. Slope is 1/2, which tells me to go up 1 and right 2. So from B, up 1 and right 2, and that point right there is on both lines. I have my 2 lines. I can connect the dots by inserting the line, and it looks like this. Arrows on the end of the line to show the line continues forever in both directions. Put a 2 and circle it. That's line 2 that comes from equation 2. So as you can see, the lines intersect right here. And so that is the solution. So how do you get there from the origin? From the origin, you would go right 1, 2. And if you go right 2, that is positive 2. So I go right 2 and up 1, 2, 3. So the solution here is 2, 3. From the origin, I went right 2, up 3. Right 2, up 3. So 2, 3 is the solution. Okay, last system here, we have equation 1 and equation 2. Neither one of them are in slope-intercept form. So we'll start with equation 1 here. Equation 1, I have 2x plus 3y equal negative 12. And I'm going to rewrite this into slope-intercept form. So my y term I can see is on the left side. So move this x term to the right side by subtraction. Those two x's will cancel, and I will have 3y equal to, put my x term first. My x term is negative 2x. And here's my constant term, which is negative 12. Solve for y by dividing every term by the number in front of y, which is 3. So every term gets divided by 3. Okay, so that those 3's will simplify to 1y, which is simply y. So y equals, remember this is the fraction negative 2/3, right? Negative 2 over 3. So negative 2 over 3, and then don't forget your x. So this is negative 2/3 x. And then here you have negative 12 divided by 3, which is negative 4. Okay, so this right here is slope-intercept form. So now you can identify m. That's m, negative 2/3. So negative 2/3 is the slope of line 1. And this is b, negative 4. So if I graph line 1, I begin at b, which is negative 4. So this is the x-axis, remember. This is the y-axis. B is at negative 4, so I put a dot right here. And then I move with m. So m is negative 2/3, which tells me to go down 2 and to the right 3. So from B, if I go down 2, I'm off the grid. So instead, let's change the direction of these arrows. Let's go up and to the left. So from B, let's go up 2, 1, 2, and left 3. 1, 2, 3, and put a dot. Okay, I could do that again, but I'd be off the grid. So let's see if we can get away with just having 2 points on this line. So click and drag, connect the dots and arrows on the end of the line. Put a little 1 and circle it. That's line 1 that comes from equation 1. All right, now let's do equation 2. Let's rewrite it into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to copy it down first. 5x minus 3y. Oh, messed up, so Control Z. 5x minus 3y equals negative 9. Let's start with that. Y terms on the left side, so move x to the right side by subtraction. So I subtract 5x from both sides, so those 5x's cancel, and this y term is negative 3y equals, put your x term first, so I have negative 5x, and then the constant is negative 9. Solve for y by dividing every term by the number in front of y. The number in front of y is not 3, it is negative 3. So every term in the entire equation gets divided by negative 3. Okay, that way these negative 3 simplify to just one y or y. And so y is equal to, here I have a negative 5 over a negative 3. So I have a negative over a negative. That makes this a positive. So this is a positive 5/3. Leave it as improper. Don't try to make it mixed, or don't try to make it a decimal. So 5/3 x, right? Don't forget your x. And then for your constant, you have negative 9 over negative 3. Negative 9 divided by negative 3 is a positive 3, right? That's the equation. Now you can identify m. M is 5/3. M is 5/3. And B is 3. Here's B. It's 3. So look at their slopes. Their slopes are different. So I know right away there's one solution, right? Different slopes, one solution. I expect these lines to intersect at one point. So begin at B. B is at 3. So let's put a dot at 3 on the y-axis. So right there. Okay. Then the slope is 5/3. So slope is 5/3, which would tell me to go up 5 and right 3. Now, if I do that, I'm obviously going to be off of the grid. So let's change the direction of both of the arrows. Instead of going up and to the right, let's go down and to the left from B. So down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, left 3, 1, 2, and 3. So as you can see, that point right there is on both lines. So it's insert line here. Oh, Control Z, undo. Click and drag. Okay, so it should look like something like this. Arrows, of course, on the end of the line to show the line continues forever in both directions. Put a 2 and circle it for line 2. And so as you can see right here is the intersection of the two lines. So how do I get there from the origin? From the origin, I would go left 1, 2, 3. And if I go left 3, that's negative 3, comma. After I go left 3, 1, 2, 3, then I go down 1, 2. And if I go down 2, that is negative 2. So from the origin, to get to my solution, from the origin, I went left 3, 1, 2, 3. That's negative 3. And then down 2, 1, 2. And that's negative 2. So this right here, negative 3, negative 2. This is the solution to the system. That is the only point that is on both lines. -3, -2.